There is a person behind a counter somewhere in your town with a doctoral degree, a small business loan, and a building full of medicine that people need to stay alive. The logical assumption is that this person should be very wealthy. They operate in an American healthcare industry worth over $600 billion annually. Yet in 2023 alone, more than 1,000 pharmacies closed their doors across the country. While the neighborhood continues to get sick, the financial system governing these stores has evolved in a way that makes standard operation nearly impossible for a local owner. Opening a small independent pharmacy requires an initial investment between $300,000 and $700,000. That capital covers the physical space, dispensing software, liability insurance, and the necessary state licensing. The largest upfront liability is the inventory. For a new owner, the cost of stocking the shelves on day one ranges from $150,000 to $300,000. This diagram shows the foundational mechanic of the business. Because pharmacies do not manufacture these products, they buy them from a wholesaler at one price and dispense them to a patient at another. The difference between those two numbers is the reimbursement spread. That single margin is the entire economic engine of the operation. Every operating expense, from the lease to the pharmacist's salary, is paid out of that one transaction spread. When a patient hands over an insurance card, the pharmacy loses control over its own pricing. The insurance network dictates exactly what that medication is worth and what the pharmacy will be paid. These reimbursement contracts are negotiated and enforced by pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs. They act as corporate middlemen between the insurance plan, the drug manufacturer, and the local pharmacy. This data visualization shows the concentration of the market. Just 3 major PBM corporations, CVS Caremark, Express Scripts, and Optum Rx, process approximately 80% of all prescription claims in the country. Because these entities control the vast majority of insured patients, independent owners must accept their rigid contract terms to remain a usable option in their community. The pressure on that profit margin compounds through direct and indirect remuneration, or DIR fees. A pharmacy might fill a prescription in January and receive payment in February, only to receive a bill from the PBM in March clawing back a portion of that money. Because these fees are applied retroactively, a prescription that appeared profitable at the point of sale can turn into a net loss months after the medicine has been dispensed. Traditional business accounting fails in this environment. The independent owner must spend capital to acquire inventory without knowing the final payment amount until long after the transaction is complete. PBMs also utilize maximum allowable cost, or MAC pricing. This sets a hard reimbursement ceiling on generic drugs. When wholesale costs rise due to supply chain shortages, the MAC ceiling often remains static. The pharmacy is contractually forced to buy the generic drug at a high price and dispense it for less than they paid. The only clean transaction left is the cash pay generic. If a patient pays out of pocket for a low-cost medication, there are no insurance middlemen, no MAC ceilings, and no retroactive clawbacks. Serving a fully insured patient can be more taxing on a pharmacy's bottom line than a simple cash transaction for a $3 generic. Behind the counter, the physical operating system requires constant labor. Staff must organize thousands of drug classes, tracking expirations and integrating new formulations as older products are discontinued. Biologicals, vaccines, and insulin require uninterrupted temperature control. A single overnight refrigeration failure can destroy tens of thousands of dollars in inventory before the staff arrives in the morning. The locked controlled substance cabinet carries even heavier risks. Every tablet entering and leaving the building is documented for federal regulators, where clerical errors during an audit can trigger an immediate license suspension. Because the prescription counter is burdened with high liability and suppressed margins, the business must rely on the retail items at the front of the store, the greeting cards and vitamins, to help cover the lease. The independent pharmacist is competing against national chains that operate 8,000 to 9,000 locations. Those corporations purchase inventory in volumes an individual owner could not approach in a lifetime of operation. That scale allows chains to secure lower wholesale drug prices while providing them with the leverage to negotiate more favorable reimbursement rates from the PBMs. This chart tracks Medicare Part D pharmacy price concessions, reported as DIR. Between 2010 and 2020, those retroactive fees increased by approximately $107,400. After fixed costs, wholesale prices, and clawbacks are deducted, the net margin for an independent pharmacy often hovers between 2 to 4% in a good year. The pharmacies that have survived the system have done so by pivoting to specialized care, including medication synchronization, specialty compounding, and direct long-term care management. Filling a bottle with pills is no longer enough to keep the doors open. Surviving owners have transitioned into providers of specialized clinical services, managing the kind of patient care that cannot be replicated at the scale of national chains.
Curious about what it really takes to own and run a business? Subscribe to Ms. Net Worth for honest breakdowns of startup costs, hidden expenses, profit margins, risks, and the real economics behind the businesses you see every day. Thank you. See you in next video.